Alright, I'll record this, so if you want to look at it next 2 nights. There we go. Alright, so number 3, it's negative. What's that? Yeah, let's make it Wednesday. Alright, so negative 3x over 2 plus 24x minus 1 over 6 equals 6x minus 1 over 18x. Alright, here we go. And we have to solve for x, correct? Alright, well, let's see. What don't you like about this problem? What's the main thing you don't like about this problem? Fractions, right. So let's get rid of the fractions, right? So we got to figure out a way how to get rid of the fractions. Remember what we said? Find a what? Common denominator, or at least common multiple. Okay, you can think of it as a common denominator if you want. So what would it be? At 2, 6, and 18, what do all three, what's the smallest number that 2, 6, and 18 all divide into evenly? 18, right. But you also have an x there, so you have to multiply everything by what? 18x. Now why did I pick that number? Because all three of these divide evenly into 18x, don't they? Right, that's why I did it, so that we could cancel out everything on the bottom. So I'll multiply that by 18x, multiply this by 18x, but remember, put that in parentheses, and then I have to multiply this by 18x. Alright, let's see what happens when we do that. So the 2, now I don't go 18x times negative 3x. You understand that? Okay, I do that so that I can get rid of the denominators. So the 2 cancels out with the 18, that makes it a 9. We'll clean this up in the next step. This 6 goes into this 18 3 times, and this 18x goes into this 18x once, right? So it just cancels each other out. Make sense? Alright, let's get back to yellow. So let's see what we have here. We've got 9x times negative 3x. This is all being multiplied. It's not 9 minus 3. You got that? It's 9 times. So let's go 9 times negative 3. That would be negative 27. And then x times x is x squared. We good? Alright, and that's it for that one, right? Plus, let's do this. What do I have here? I got a 3x, don't I? And it's being multiplied by 24x minus 1. Look, instead of trying to distribute it through all this mess, because it's kind of ugly and sometimes you might forget something, I'm just going to write it down a little bit neater, like this. Is that alright? Equals, let's see what we have here. That all canceled out, so this is just 6x minus 1, right? Now let's distribute the 3x through here, and then we'll take a look to see what we can do here. So it's negative 27x squared plus 24 times 3. Should know what it is. What is it? 72? Okay, don't need that. So 72, what? X squared minus 3x, because we're distributing, equals 6x minus 1. Now look what I have. Looks like I have a quadratic, doesn't it? So let's simplify first. So 72 minus 27. 72, that's 5, and that's a 3, right? So 35x squared, right? So I added those up. Let's do this. Let's get everything on the left-hand side and set it equal to 0. So let's subtract a 6x from both sides. So that gives me negative 9x. And let's add a 1 to both sides. And then that will equal 0. See? Got rid of both of these things, put it over here. I think I did everything right, didn't I?
Wait, I think it's a 45.
Oh, 45? Oh, that's right. 7 minus 2 is 5. Carry, right. That would be a 45, not 35. Thanks. Okay, here we go. You can look at this, and I don't know, maybe it factors, maybe it doesn't. I don't have my answers in front of me. I don't know, does that thing factor? I don't know. So what if I don't know? What do I want to do? Formula. Yes, use the quadratic formula. So negative b, so that would be 9, plus or minus, square root. B squared, that would be 81, minus 4, times a, which is 45, times c, which is 1, over 2 times a, so it's 2 times 45. Alright, calculator time. There we go. Alright, let's see. 4 times 4, let's see, 2 times 45 is 90, that'd be 180, right? So that'd be 81 minus 180. I should be able to do that in my head, but I'm going to do it anyway. Did I do that right? 180? That is right, isn't it? Negative 99. Is this going to work? I don't think this is going to... what number am I doing, by the way? Oh, 3. Okay. I still don't know if this is going to work, is it? Does this work according to the answer that I have there? I don't know. Let me keep going. So what did I say that was? 99? Negative 99. Something's going wrong. Yeah. Right? Over 90. But it's not going to. Not according to the answer they gave you. What is the answer that I had? 1 6 2/3? Yeah, because that's going to come out. Alright, I think they screwed up on this one. So let's get the answer according to what the problem was that they gave us. So this would be 9 plus or minus. Now, well, 9 times 11, right? So the square root of 9 is 3. Square root of negative 11 over 90, right? So let's see what goes into these. 3 goes into all this, doesn't it? 3 goes into that 3 times, 3 goes into that once, 3 goes into that, what, 30 times? Is that right? So it would be 3 plus or minus, it'd be an I square root of 11 over 30. That's what the answer to that problem should be. It's not the answer on the answer key because I think they messed up. They either wrote something wrong on the problem or they just, I don't know what they did. But that should be the answer. I think. We double checked it. I don't think I did anything wrong on that. Maybe I'll get Ms. Bonsbach or somebody to to do it to see what they get, just to double check. Because that always makes me nervous when I get a different answer than they do. But they have definitely been wrong from time to time. So there we go. All right, so that was number 3. Now, my guess is, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, the test is already made, but I doubt if I give you a problem like that, it'll come out like this. It'll probably come out regular and normal. If you know, not that this isn't normal. I mean, you know, for stuff that has I in it, that's normal, I guess. Well, anyway, but I'll give you one that works, okay? All right, number 10. Let's take a look at number 10. All right, number 10. All right. Well, let's change colors. I'm tired of yellow. Square root 2x plus 3 minus square root x plus 1 equals 1. Alright, what we're going to do here is we want to get rid of square roots, don't we, eventually, but we're not going to get rid of them right now. We're going to do one little thing first before we start trying to get rid of square roots, and that's take this and put it onto the other side. Right, now, technically, yeah, you could square both sides, but your math is a little bit more difficult if you try to square this thing, because you're going to have to FOIL method this. Do you really want to FOIL method that? No. You could do it. It would work. Okay, it's not like it wouldn't work, but it's a little easier if I take this and I chuck it to the other side. You're still going to have to FOIL something. It's a lot easier to FOIL this than it is this whole thing right here. Does that make sense? Alright, so I've got the square root of 2x plus 3 equals 1 plus, right, because I add this to the other side, square root of x plus 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides. So if I square this side, I'm going to have to square this side. But look what I did here. I put that in parentheses. It's very, very important that you understand that. Okay, by putting that in parentheses, that means I have to FOIL that whole entire sum, which we know is, well, I said FOIL, but we're going to have to multiply that whole entire sum by itself, which we know is FOIL, right? Alright, so let's do this. But this is nice over here. What happened to that? That canceled out the square root, so I've got 2x plus 3. Now make sure you understand this. When you square both sides, weird stuff can happen. Alright, when you square both sides of an equation. So that means when, even though I might do the math perfectly right, you may get a solution that actually doesn't work. Right? So what are you going to have to do to determine if it works or not? Check it. Yeah, plug it back in and check to see if it works. Okay, so that's one thing to remember. So make sure that you, when you square both sides, that you always put it back in to check to see if it works. Because funky things happen sometimes. All right, when you square both sides. All right, let's do this one. Let's FOIL this thing. Where do you want to FOIL it? Just right here? 1 plus the square root of x plus 1 times 1 plus the square root of x plus 1. I hope if there's one thing that you remember this year is when you square a sum, that you don't just square the individual things in here. Alright? That's a common mistake people make. But we've done this a lot this year, haven't we? Where we take this, instead of just squaring the 1 and squaring this, we multiply it by itself, and you got to do FOIL. Alright? Because you're going to get an inside term here. Alright, make sure that you understand that. So that stays 2x plus 3. What happens here? Let's do the FOIL. So first, it's 1 times 1, which is 1. Outside, now watch, this is a perfect square, isn't it? So the outside and the inside, you multiply those together, and then you just add them up, right? Add them to each other. So basically, you take the outside, multiply it together, multiply it by 2. Make sense? So it's 1 times this, so it's what? 2 square root of x plus 1. If that bothers you, just do the outside inside. The outside is the square root of x plus 1. The inside is the square root of x plus 1. What's the square root of x plus 1 plus the square root of x plus 1? It's 2 of them, right? So that's why I put the 2 there. Get that? That works when you have a perfect square. And then, let's do this. Let's multiply this times this, the last. Well, what happens if I take a square root and I multiply it by itself? It just gets rid of the square root, doesn't it? All right, it's like squaring something, isn't it? So it's just what? X plus 1. Make sense? Alright, now let's see what we can do here. Let's move some stuff over. What I want to try to do is I want to try to get that square root sitting there by itself. So let's get rid of all the other stuff, right? And try to get that square root just sitting there by itself. So first of all, let's see. I could subtract an x, couldn't I? And what's this? This is 1 plus 1, which is 2. So I could do what? Subtract a 2, right? So I'll subtract a x from this, subtract a 2 from this. That way, that'll cancel, and then this will cancel. Everybody see that? So let's see what I get. I get x plus 1 equals 2 times the square root of x plus 1. You can do this a couple ways. This is the way the book does it, and I kind of like this way. I didn't used to like this way, right? I didn't used to think of it this way, but then I saw how the book did it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to square this whole entire side. If I square that whole side, I'm going to square this side as well. See that? Square this, square this. Now look, on this one I don't have to do FOIL method because I don't have a sum here. It's not like it's this plus this. You see that? So, all I got to do is square everything in here. But this is a FOIL method. So what am I going to get here? This is going to be, let's go back to blue, sorry. So this is going to be, should be able to do this in your head. It's x plus 1 times x plus 1, right? So it's going to be x squared plus, what do I do with the outside and inside? Yeah, multiply them and just add them to themselves, or just multiply by 2, right? So it would be what? 2x, right? Plus 1, good. Equals. Now what happens here? If I square the 2, what do I get? A 4. Now it's being multiplied by this. What if I square that square root? What happens there? Gets rid of the square root, and so I have an x plus 1 here. Now it's very important that you make sure you put that in parentheses because it's being multiplied by this 2 squared, which is 4. Okay? Let's keep going. We're almost done. It's a little bit of a lengthy problem, isn't it? So what do we get? 4x plus 4. It looks like a quadratic, doesn't it? So let's put everything on the left-hand side. So I subtract a 4x, and then I subtract a 4. And then I'll get a 0 over here. So I've got x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. What do you think? Does this factor? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So I'm going to go negative 3, positive 1. Because that adds up to negative 2, doesn't it? Right? So there you go. So I've got negative 3 and positive 1. When I multiply them, it's negative 3. When I add them up, it's negative 2. So it factors nice and pretty. Set them both equal to 0. We don't have to show that. We can do this in our head now at this point, can't we? So what's x equal to? 3. And x is also equal to what? Negative 1. But what do you have to do to both of those? Check them, right? Remember that? Alright, so let's put them back in. Let me rewrite so I don't have to go all the way to the top again. Let's rewrite our original problem. This was number 10, right? So it was 2x plus 3 minus the square root of x plus 1 equals 1. So let's put them both in just to see if they both work. Let's put a 3 in for this. This shouldn't take too long, right? 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, square root is 3. Put the 3 into this. 3 plus 1 is 4, square root is 2. 3 minus 2, is that equal to 1? Yep, it works. So that one works. Let's try the other one. And you're probably thinking, this is a waste of time. Why don't I just circle them and go on? Well, because sometimes both of them work. Okay, sometimes one of them works. Sometimes neither one of them work. All right, so you got to make sure that you do that. So let's put the negative 1 in for this. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 3 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. Put the negative 1 in for this. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. What's the square root of 0? 0. Does 1 minus 0 equal 1? Yes, it does. So guess what we can do with both of these? We can circle both of them. Those are our answers. Okay? I'll tell you what. That worksheet I gave you today, if you want to do it, you can do it. I'm not going to make you do it. All right? So if there's like certain problems that you want to do, I'll give you the answers tomorrow. All right? So if you want to do it, you can. I'm not going to give you any credit for it, though. Okay? So it's completely up to you. What we'll do tomorrow is we'll just take the rest of this worksheet and we'll just go over the rest of those questions with you tomorrow. Is that all right?
Are you taking? Are you taking just any problems?
Well, we'll finish up the rest of these. I mean, we can take whatever you want, but I'll finish the rest of these. We already did that. So we'll do these tomorrow, and then whatever else you want to ask me tomorrow. Okay?